Hey, what's going on, everybody? If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, let your boy know what you think about the content, as it will help the channel as I continuously keep bringing this content for you. Like I told you guys before, I'm going to do a recap, and I'm also going to do a pre-game recap of what I think is going to take place for the game. Now, the clip that you see is not the roster. Of course, it's not the roster that's going to be going up against Sacramento Kings tonight. But to me, this game is the debut of the Houston Rockets season. Here is a glimpse of everybody being on the floor, playing their role, playing their position. The bench guys had an opportunity in the first two games to get minutes and to really see what it's like to play with James Harden at that speed or at that effect of his ball movement and his one-on-one isolation. But tonight, we get to see what James Harden is able to do with different scorers on the court. Now, we all know James Harden is a ball-dominant guy, but we also know that he's a lethal scorer. So he has mastered the art of scoring. So we're fully aware of that. The guy is averaging 39 points on the season. That's ridiculous. We don't want him to keep that pace. What we want is to contribute that into success and seeding and into success and making sure that he doesn't overexalt himself if he decides to stay. So here's my understanding of why I believe the Houston Rockets will have a great game tonight. As you can see, Luke Walton is the coach of the Sacramento Kings. Luke Walton was underneath Steve Kerr, of course, so we know. He just runs the same offense that Steve Kerr runs. Ball movement, back screens. Buddy High can go one-on-one. They don't have Bogdanovich anymore. He's in Atlanta. So you have Harrison Barnes now who can work one-on-one. But you got shooters all over the place. They space the floor. So here's an opportunity to see if Boogie Cousins is actually going to play defense and to see if John Wall is actually able to keep pace. And if John Wall is able to keep pace and Boogie Cousins is actually able to give us some sign that he can play defense, because he's not going to really be dealing with any bigs. He's going to be dealing with Whiteside, but Whiteside is not a dominant big. Whiteside is more of a in the paint type guy. So here's a game where the Boogie Cousins has an opportunity to completely go off. Of course, the same thing with Christian Woods. I believe you can already wrap it up. The guy's going to be an all-star in the West. He might make second team. I'm not sure about first team because you got to deal with AD. But wrap it up, man. Guy's going to be an all-star. But this game right here, to me, is the season debut. Look, guys, for Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon tonight to put on a show. And here's why I believe it. He has the opportunity that he hasn't had in a long time. And what that is he has the opportunity to not only space, but he has the opportunity to penetrate. Yes, that's his game. That's what he does. But what Mike D'Antoni was doing was trying to make him more of a Thompson type guy. Klay Thompson type guy, catch and shoot type guy, to only work off of James Harden. And then when James would go to the bench, then he would tell Eric, hey, go do your thing, go get your points. But then Eric would run into a problem, and that issue was clogged lanes. Or Eric didn't have the knees, or the injury was holding him back, so he wasn't able to be explosive as he wanted to. But now we have a season where we get to see Eric Gordon do his thing, and he could do it in so many different ways. To me, this game is not going to be close. It shouldn't be close, and here's why. Because, one, they lost Bogdanovich. He's over in Atlanta, so you're going to be dealing with a lot of forwards tonight. This is where we specialize in now. This is where you're going to get an opportunity to see what Jason Tate is all about. And now you have P.J. Tucker on the floor at the same time. You can run him at the same time. You can come off the bench with him. So here's an opportunity to really see if our defense, which is ranked last, I wouldn't worry about that right now. It's the first two games, a bunch of bench guys. I wouldn't worry about our defense being ranked last, okay? This is an opportunity to see where our defense really is, because we have an opportunity here to kind of really blow these guys out of the water and kind of run off with this game and to really put on a defensive clinic. To me, Jeff Hornacek is the perfect guy for a defensive scheme when it comes to being an assistant coach. Because if you know Utah Jazz, and you remember them Houston Rockets series between Utah Jazz, every time we made the playoffs, man, against the Utah Jazz, you just hated those guys. You hated them. When it came down to Derrick Williams, when it came to Carlos Boozers, I just hated the guys because you knew those guys were going to bring toughness, man. They were going to bring a defensive requirement. Like, if you were on the court, you had to play defense. I know a lot of you guys probably remember Killer K. Killer K, man, he averaged 5, 5, and 5. Like, this guy was a defensive problem, man. And he was their small forward / power forward. We haven't seen that guy anymore after he left the Jazz, but we know the defensive scheme is there. We know shooters are there. We know the opportunity to get buckets is going to be there. What we want to see, to me, for the first opening game, which I call a season debut, is we want to see if the team can work together on things that we know, not scoring, not ISO. We know the team is great at that. Not shooting 3-pointers. We know the team is great at that. What we want to know is, can you guys move the ball, put other people in position to score, and can James Harden not overexert himself to again prove that he's a dominant elite scorer? We don't need that from James Harden this year. What we need is what we've been seeing from James Harden the first 2 games, a vocal leader. That's why Chris Paul came in. Chris Paul came in because Chris Paul was vocal. James Harden is not your alpha male guy. But what I've been seeing from him from the first 2 games, the dude is talking, man. He is putting people in position. You heard Christian Wood say it. He's telling me when to pop. He's telling me when to roll. He's pretty much being very vocal. He's getting on Jason Tate, who people say he had a confrontation with during practice. Look, he's a vet. You go too hard, man. You know, some of these guys are like, hey, man, don't hurt me. You know, like, I don't want to get hurt. You know, I'm a big deal down here in Houston. You know, if I get hurt because you want to prove something, then, you know, the season pretty much over. But you see the guys being very vocal. To me, that doesn't mean he's 100% bought in. But what it means to me is he pretty much looks at this as an opportunity to do great things. So, guys, stay tuned, man. I'm going to do a review after the game. I love you guys. Stay tuned.